So Sega getting all high and mighty going, we're not a retro gaming company. We'll never, 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 never create a Dreamcast Mini because that's the work of fools. And we're not fools. We're Sega, not a retro gaming company. So some clever designers out there said, up yours, Sega, and came up with a beautiful Dreamcast Mini case, remarkably sharp looking Dreamcast Mini case that you could put a Raspberry Pi 5 in and load back to Sarah, the appropriate software, and all the goodies to load it up with Dreamcast games and make your own Dreamcast Mini that, to me, looks as good as anything Sega could come up with. So Mike had sent me a link to this, accompanied with "We need to make a Buck Panda case," which I think is a fair point. I think we're going to have to do some brainstorming on exactly what that's going to look like. But I do think that we'll need to do a Bog Panda case for a Raspberry Pi. There is kind of a Star Wars themed one that I already did for a project I worked on for a friend. So I guess we could start including the files for that on Bog Panda Vision. So if anybody's interested in having kind of the Star Wars crate kind of box to hold your Raspberry Pi, I can get that out there for you. But I do think a Bog Panda themed one. But everybody's beating us to market. We talked about the Arcade Boy a little while back, a few shows ago, and now there's this Dreamcast Mini. Um, you've talked about it before. We both talked about it kind of being that was on our short list. Jaguar Mini still, I think, is our number one Mini we want. But Dreamcast wasn't very far behind. And I still think Dreamcast is one of the best looking gaming consoles, uh, just visually. I mean, it's no Pac-Man yellow Atari 2600 plus, but still pretty good looking on regular size. But this case looked pretty great as well. So, what were your thoughts on the Dreamcast Mini case?
I thought this looked pretty cool. I haven't tried to emulate a ton of Dreamcast games, but when I have emulated my backup ROMs of the physical games that I own, um, I've never had any problems with it. So it doesn't seem like it has the issues that, say, the Saturn does, which actually came before the Dreamcast, but because of the Saturn's weird stack of processors inside of it and the way you had to program the visuals using two different visual processors plus the four-sided polygons and things that made it hard to just port things back and forth to it. It just had a lot of issues that make it difficult to emulate because each game is kind of bespoke in that sense. So just a lot of weird stuff. Same thing with Nintendo 64. Nintendo 64 doesn't emulate well because of the cartridge size being so small. Each developer kind of came up with their own different ways of doing compression to try to fit more onto the cartridges. And that's why it doesn't emulate well because you have 100 different compression formats across these different cartridges. So I don't know of any kind of issues like that with Dreamcast. So anybody who's emulated it on a larger scale, if you want to let us know in the comments, but Dreamcast was a cool system. And unfortunately, at that point, I think that Sega had really killed the consumer confidence in their hardware. And I know I'm a die-hard Sega person. I loved Genesis and 32X and Sega CD and all of that stuff. I'll defend 32X to a fight to the death. That was a good add-on. Um, but the way that they dropped the ball on the rollout of 32X and then really dropped the ball on the rollout of Saturn just kind of handicapped any goodwill that they had. And a lot of stores weren't even willing to carry Sega products because of the Saturn rollout. Saturn, they rushed it out to market to say that they got there before PlayStation, but had such a limited number of consoles that only a few stores got them, which led to big retail chains like KB Toys, who was definitely pro Sega over Nintendo, to stop carrying Sega.
Yeah, a stumble on many a stumble similar to Pac-Man 2600.
Yeah.
uh, or ET, even though you're kind of an ET apologist too. a 2600. But yeah, it this was there's also a pretty cool Nintendo 64 mini case kicking around out there, but you're gonna run into the emulation issues with that. So it's look cool, not play well. So I'm not sure that's a great thing. Plus, you've got pretty good Nintendo 64 options these days. So there's ways if you want to go Nintendo 64 that there's some pretty good options out there now. Um, but yeah, this is, since apparently Sega's made it very clear they have no interest in, in doing a Dreamcast Mini, this is a way to get there. Now, the case, which as I mentioned, is just gorgeous. It's just really, really well done. And even the little disk drive lid on the top opens up for storage. I don't know what exactly you'd store there, but it is available for storage. It's available on, well, I should say it's available on Zim. It's listed on Amazon. Currently listed as out of stock. Don't know when we're going to get more, which I guess is good news that they've been popular and they've cleared it out. So I'm assuming some more inventory will be made, but we will include a link to the Amazon listing. Don't be mad at us that it's out of stock. We told you. So, but take a look at it. I think you're going to agree it looks pretty great. And to be interesting. So, yet another skip it, buy it for us here. Now, the challenge here is because when we started looking at it was the point at which stock had already run out. Amazon's not listing a price. So this making this a skip it buy, it's a little challenging because I mean it's not made out of aluminum, so it's not going to be $700. But depending on the price point, if it's reasonably priced, I guess by reasonably I'd say for a case, I don't know, 30, $40 maybe for a well art, designed case with some mechanics in it with the lid being able to open up and all that good stuff. Is that a skip it or buy it for you?
It could be a buy it. I've always liked Raspberry Pis. I've been a fan for many, many years. I like emulating the backup ROMs that I have of all the games that I legally own. So I have no problem with this. Sega has been very clear that they're not going to do minis for the Saturn or the Dreamcast. Again, with the Saturn, kind of makes sense, and they've explained that too. That emulation's just not perfect for it, and to get some of the to replicate some of the hardware in a mini form factor, it's going to be priced a lot higher than the mini systems tend to be, which sort of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, and it gets, tempting. So I'm probably a buy it. And because you're still going to have to, be on the hook if you don't have a spare Raspberry Pi 5 hanging around, you're going to need to pick up one of those too. But those don't exactly break the bank either. So you can certainly get that. But I just at some point want to build some sort of uh, display structure that'll let me put my A500, my Genesis Mini, and my Dreamcast Mini. I don't have any of the NES or S or Super Nintendo minis, so that's a gap for right now. But I do have enough that would be just kind of a cool little miniature collection of minis that hopefully I could find a way to uh, connect the power sources and the controller sources such that it's not a hornet's nest or web of cords. But I think that could be it could look pretty cool. And it'd be a neat way to kind of bring those out because my uh, A500 doesn't get the use it deserves because it's kind of just sitting off to the side all the time. So I think this would be good. But I really think if not that Dreamcast case, I'm just so impressed with it. So I think it'll be a good route to go. Hey, let us know in the comments if you're in the market for a Dreamcast mini case once they're back in stock, and uh, or if you have a better idea, or if you think Sega will relent and do it, but I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
And this one you can do good emulation with, as opposed to the 64. So I think it's worth a look. Let's see on that. Any additional thoughts on the Dreamcast mini case, sir?
No, I mean the one main thing is that it inspires me further and pushes me more to think we need our own Raspberry Pi case.
Yep. Yeah, and while you're subscribing to the Bog Panda YouTube channel, so that you can listen to Hard No, the world's shortest podcast every day, you know, on any video you like, leave a comment with your suggestions on what form factor our Bog Panda case should be, and we'll be working on it as well.
I would leave it
And
on multiple videos just to make sure we see it.
yeah, I think that's the safest thing to do. And it's usually the comments stay more readable if you watch the entire video, maybe twice. I think that's a safe number to really burn in that comment. I think that's the way it works on the YouTube. So give that a shot if you would. You can also check out our website. We have our own micro homebrew site, Bog Panda Vision, where you've got a whole bunch of Game Boy games of the slapdash variety, all sorts of different variants there. An NES game that is in the Slapaverse, Doom 2 levels, more platforms to come, some online stuff's there. There's a couple of little quirky things there. I forgot, have mentioned this lately. The most impressive C64 coding ever that's been done. Mike, it's like he's the Shakespeare of BASIC. And you can check out his Romeo and Juliet and Othello are out there. And you can look at those as well. Just it's amazing, amazing, amazing work. Those are there, and we'll continue to add other things down the road, other platforms, and we're trying to see what else we can come up with there. And then maybe one day you'll also see on that or a case if we can figure that out. So we'll work on that. Excellent. Well, thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bog Panda.